Good evening, live from this news center of the Sultanate of Oman television. Here we present to you the first news bulletin of year 2023. First, the headlines. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq issues 3 royal decrees. More than 10 billion Omani Riyals are the total revenues approved in the state's general budget of 2023, as general spending is estimated at 11.3 billion Omani Riyals. The Ministry of Labour officially launches the Institutional Proficiency System, IJADA, as a tool that enhances institutional excellence by measuring government performance. And the first phase of Manjam Laboratories begins to simplify 118 government services. Good evening once again, and thank you for joining us. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq issues 3 royal decrees as follows. Royal Decree number 1 over 2023 on ratifying the state's general budget for the fiscal year 2023. Article 1. The state's general budget 2023 is hereby ratified in accordance with the attached schedules. Article 2. All units of the state's administrative apparatus and other public legal persons shall implement the provisions of this decree, each within its compliances. Article 3. This decree shall be published in the official gazette and shall come into effect on the 1st of January 2023. Royal Decree number 2 over 2023. Article 1 considers the project of constructing petroleum dam from floods dangers in Wadi Adonab 1B in the Wilayah of Salalah in the Governorate of the Far, specified the memorandum and the attached total schematic drawing as public utility project. Article 2 authorizes competent authorities to expropriate through direct implementation of real estates and lands necessary for the project and establishments on it in accordance with provisions of the Public Utility Expropriation Law. Article 3. This decree shall be published in the official gazette and shall come into effect from the date of its issue. Royal Decree number 3 over 2023. Article 1 considers the project of constructing floods protection dam in the Wadi An-Nar and the side protection for Salalah Port in the Far Governorate as a public utility project specified in the memorandum and the attached total schematic drawing as public utility project. Article 2 authorizes competent authorities to expropriate through direct implementation of real estates and lands necessary for the project and establishments on it in accordance with provisions of the Public Utility Expropriation Law. Article 3. This decree shall be published in the official gazette and shall come into effect from the date of its issue. Their Excellencies, the Governors, heads of municipal councils in the Governorates today took an oath before His Excellency Sayyid Hamoud bin Faisal Al Busaidi, Minister of Interior. The oath was taken by His Excellency Dr. Yahya bin Badr Al Ma'wali, Governor of South Al-Sharqiyya, His Excellency Sheikh Hilal bin Saeed Al Hajri, Governor of Dakhiliya, His Excellency Sheikh Saif bin Hamyar Al Malik Al Shihi, Governor of South Al Batina, His Excellency Sheikh Mu'adhad bin Muhammad Al Yaqubi, Governor of Al Wusta, His Excellency Najib bin Ali Al Rawas, Governor of Al Zahira, His Excellency Muhammad bin Sulaiman Al Kindi, Governor of North Al Batina, His Excellency Sheikh Ali bin Ahmed Al Shamsi, Governor of North Al Sharqiyya, and His Excellency Dr. Hamad bin Ahmed Al Busaidi, Governor of Al Buremi. His Excellency the Minister of Interior wished them success, stressing the importance of the role assigned to these councils in the upcoming period through the additional authorizations granted to serve the country and the citizens. The Minister of Finance affirmed that the average oil price per barrel was calculated at about $55 in the state's general budget for the fiscal year 2023. The total approved revenues in the state's general budget for the fiscal year 2023 were estimated at 10 billion and 50 million Omani Riyals, decreasing by 5% from what was approved in the budget for the same year. The volume of general spending was estimated at 11 billion 350 million Omani Riyals, decreasing by more than 6%. It is expected that the deficit in the budget of 2023 will reach to about 1 billion 300 million Omani Riyals, which is 18% of the total revenues and 3% of the gross domestic product. The initial results indicated that the state's general budget for the fiscal year 2022 recorded an increase in the revenues by 34.5% to reach about 14 billion 234 million Omani Riyals compared to what was approved at the beginning of 2022. Under the auspices of His Excellency Dr. Mahad bin Saeed Ba'awen, Minister of Labour, launched Ijada program today, which is a tool for institutional proficiency. More details coming up in this report by Ahmed Al-Busaidi.
With an aim to enhance performance in different governmental units and bodies, Ijada program for institutional proficiency was launched today at the Ministry of Labour. This launch came under the patronage of His Excellency Dr. Mahad bin Saeed Ba'awen, Minister of Labour.
We have gathered here today in Ministry of Labour to launch a very critical and very crucial project, which is Ijada Excellence. This project has a lot of objectives and impact on all government units and on the end users as well. All the residents of Oman will see a lot of changes in the upcoming period because the main objective of this project is to assure that there is continuous improvement in all government units in certain areas that has been agreed upon.
Ijada aims to be a tool that adds a noticeable transformation in the performance of different governmental units through precise indicators that measure their development to achieve the desired outcomes.
In the upcoming period, there will be more than 35 KPIs that will be assessed across all government, and there will be 3 different types of surveys. The first survey will assess the government collaboration across each other to achieve Vision 2040 objectives. The second survey will be for all employees in all units. It will be assessing the satisfaction of more than 180,000 employees across all government units. And the third survey will be to assess customer satisfaction from the services provided by those government units.
It's worthy of mention that this launch of Ijada does include different questionnaires, of which one is focused on satisfaction of the services by recipients. Ijada program launch means that everyone has to do his part for the Sultanate of Oman, including employees and beneficiaries from the services of this program. For Oman TV, Ahmed bin Hilal Al-Busaidi, Muscat.
Ahmed, thank you very much there. The first phase of Manjam Laboratories began to simplify government services procedures under directives of the Council of Ministers. The phase aims to simplify 118 joint services among government bodies in cooperation between the Minister of Transport, Communications and Information Technology, the follow-up unit for the implementation of Oman Vision 2040 and a number of government bodies. The laboratories will continue until next March as the first phase within the capabilities of achieving the objectives of the executive plan of the government digital transformation program 2021-2025. It aims to improve the procedures for providing digital government services provided to facilitate access to services and their provision in a manner that meets the aspirations of users. The Manjam Laboratories initiative targets more than 1,000 services within the government's digital transformation program, during which participants will discuss 3 approved work streams: the business cycle and employment process procedures. The Sultanate of Oman expressed its sincere condolences and sympathy to the families of the victims of the government and the people of the Arab Republic of Egypt in the attack that targeted the security checkpoint in the city of Ismailia, and wished a speedy recovery for the injured. In a statement, the Foreign Ministry affirmed its firm stance in condemning violence and terrorism in all its forms and motives. As part of continuous efforts to employ national workforce, Royal Oman Police received a new batch of recruits holding general education diploma and higher diploma in the Sultan Qaboos Academy for Police Sciences after they successfully passed the police force entry tests. The recruits will undergo a number of educational programs, military training, legal studies and physical exercises that will enable them to perform their national duties. The new recruits expressed their joy for being admitted to the academy to complete their training and join the police force afterwards. This comes within the efforts of the Royal Oman Police to employ national cadres and provide the best police services to the public. Al-Zahira. The Ivory Referral Hospital organized the second annual conference for scientific research. The conference aimed to increase cooperation among various health institutions in the governorates of the Sultanate of Oman. It shed light on 17 researchers in various medical fields, including the development of medicines, as well as enhancing the efficiency of some medical services, studying wild herbs that are used in making traditional medicines. The conference also aimed to prepare principles based on which a website will be created concerned with scientific research in the medical field. Fish production in the Sultanate of Oman decreased by 22.4% by the end of last October to reach 556,151 tons compared to the same period in the year 2021, while the total value of fish production increased by 2.2%. The governorate of Al-Wusta topped the list in terms of fish quantity, while the governorate of South Al-Sharqiya came second, followed by the governorates of North and South Al-Batina. You're watching the Sultanate of Oman television, and yet to come in our news bulletin. Celebrations of the New Year 2023 took place in many countries of the world. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. Daesh group claimed today responsibility for an attack on an Egyptian security checkpoint in a city east of Cairo a day earlier, in which 2 policemen and civilians were killed, the group said on its Telegram account. 2 other policemen were wounded at the checkpoint in the city of Ismailia, according to sources from the Interior Ministry and the city's security directorate. One of the gunmen was killed, while the second escaped with the help of others, the sources added. Taiwan. Taiwan President Tsai Ing-wen extended today an olive branch to China, calling for military activities around Taiwan to be replaced by dialogue and cooperation. In her New Year address, Tsai said peace and stability in the region was a responsibility that falls on the shoulders of the members of the region and are the common expectations of everyone. Taiwan's president also offered assistance if needed to China as it deals with surge in COVID-19 cases. It is to be noted that Taiwan is among a group of countries that have responded to the Chinese wave of infections by requiring various tests for visitors from China. As the clock struck midnight from Saturday to Sunday to usher in the new year, Croatia simultaneously joined the European Union's borderless travel area and the Eurozone in a historic day for the small nation of 3.9 million people. Today, Croatia became the 20th country in the European Union's monetary union which uses the euro, consigning to history its own currency, the kuna, which was in use since 1994, having been adopted 3 years after the nation seceded from Yugoslavia. Although Croatia had joined the European Union in July 2013, the last country to join the bloc to date, its membership rules obliged the country to join the free trade area and the Eurozone at a later time. This makes Croatia the first country since Lithuania in 2015 to become a member of the Eurozone, a move which is likely to help its economy, which is thought to rely on tourism for about 20% of its GDP. Celebrations of the New Year 2023 took place in many countries all over the world. Here is a report on that.
As the world celebrates the year 2023, Berlin welcomed the new year with a fireworks display that lit up the skyline around the capital's TV tower landmark. New Year celebrations are sweeping across the globe, ushering in 2023 with countdowns and fireworks, and marking an end to a year that brought war in Europe, a new chapter in the British monarchy, and global worries over inflation. The new year began in the tiny atoll nation of Kiribati in the Central Pacific, then moved across Russia and New Zealand before heading deeper, time zone by time zone, through Asia and Europe. In the Middle East, United Arab Emirates welcomed the new year in spectacular style, with spectacular fireworks and laser beams on display at Burj Khalifa in Dubai. Thousands of people whistled and cheered at the display, taking place at the world's tallest building. In Asia, revelers gathered in Beijing for countdown celebration to usher in the new year as China is on a bumpy road returning to normal life. The capital's Steel Park, where part of the 2022 Winter Olympic events were held, were flooded with people to watch the countdown show that lit up the chimneys and furnaces. China is battling a nationwide surge in infections after suddenly easing anti-epidemic measures. Countries had largely lifted quarantine requirements, restrictions for visitors, and relentless testing that had limited travel and places people can go to. In Eastern Europe, a festive New Year tree has been lit up in the western Ukrainian city of Lviv to give some semblance of normalcy to residents in the embattled nation. This tree, however, is not finished with a traditional star on top. This year, it is decorated with an illuminated anti-tank hedgehog. With power shortages as the city tries to save energy, the installation of tree in the center of Lviv became a subject of some debate. But after the consultations with the city council, military and even psychologists, it was decided not to keep Christmas from children. The New Year tree will be lit only for a few hours using power generators. There will be no lights in the event of blackout.
This is the Sultanate of Oman Television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq issues 3 royal decrees. More than 10 billion Omani Riyals are the total revenues approved in the state's general budget of 2023, as general spending is estimated at 11.3 billion Omani Riyals. The Minister of Labour officially launches Institutional Proficiency System IJADA as a tool that enhances institutional excellence by measuring government performance. The first phase of Manjam Laboratories begins to simplify 118 government services. And with that, we come to an end of tonight's news bulletin. And may the new year bring joy, love, peace and happiness to the people of this beloved country, Oman, under the leadership of His Majesty Sultan Haytham. And we do wish the rest of the world peace and stability. Good night.